Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to another Jets Media live stream. And in today's stream, we got a special guest. DJ from NY Daily News is joining once again, giving us his first-hand perspective of Jets OTA. So, DJ, how's it going, my man?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just trying to enjoy some of this Cali weather before I go back to New York when it's, a lot. It's hotter and a lot more humid, and but all good though. I'm over here chilling. You know what I'm saying? So let's dive into some Jet stuff.
Yeah, so it was good to get away from the Jets world because I know you had a lot of work to do all throughout OTAs. So you got a nice escape from reality, went out to the West Coast, hung out with your friends, and just chilled, right?
Basically, some of my college teammates from Louisville, we linked up. I got a couple of them that live out in Southern California. So one's in San Diego, the one's in like Long Beach. So I don't go with my dogs. Haven't seen some of them in like 2 years. So that's basically it.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So let's get right into it. For those guys that don't know who DJ is, he is a Jets beat reporter, and he is part of the media. He was at OTAs, got a firsthand look. If you guys want to check him out on Twitter, that is down below in the description. Also, check him out on NY Daily News. All of his articles are linked down below in the description. He does great stuff for the New York Jets media team. So, DJ, I want to ask you this first question because us Jets fans, we want to know what the hell is going on with Zach Wilson, and you got to see him up close and personal. So what's your first impressions of Zach Wilson seeing him practice live? Even though it's not, full pad and we know that it's, 11 on 11, it's not full speed yet. It's not training camp. But what's your overall first impressions on Zach Wilson?
The talent's there. I like his velocity. It's really good. Has a really quick release. The way he plays the position early, you can already tell that he has a really good grasp of the offense. He's able to – he never really looked out of sorts. He never looked overwhelmed during OTAs. Granted, there's no real pass rush of that nature. But there were times where, he'll pat the ball, hold it. But for the most part, it was 1, 2, 3 throws. He knew where to go. Was really confused. So those were, things that were really good, that really stood out about Zach in those first few practices.
Yeah, and like you said, it's hard to really judge a quarterback based on OTAs. There's no real pass rush. But the one thing that I've heard from you and a bunch of other beat reporters that are writing articles about their impressions on Zach Wilson is that he's processing things quickly. He's somebody that feels like he has a good grasp of an offense for a rookie. Traditionally as a rookie quarterback, it takes a little time for you to be able to process things. And, like I'll say it over and over again, it's only OTAs. It's hard not to get super excited over it because they're not full pads. It's only practice. So what do you think that stood out to you the most about Zach Wilson? Is it his, being able to process things quickly? Is it, like you said, the velocity? Like, did he make way more, flashy plays and mistakes? Or if he did make mistakes, what was he doing out there just in general?
I think the thing that stood out probably the most was, I'll say the velocity. For sure, the velocity. It's there. He can fit into tight windows. That's one thing that stood out. Let me see. Mistakes. He wasn't really making too many mistakes. Usually, a majority of his picks were like deflect, tip drill, things of that nature, like dropping the ball. So it wasn't like he was out there like making terrible reads and throwing bad passes. I know he did try one splash play at the last OTA where he rolls out. He basically tries to reenact the throw that set the internet on fire during the pro day. He rolls out left, but he's throwing it down the sideline. But he basically makes that same type of rollout, same type of reaction down the left sideline to Braxton Berrios, it was incomplete, but it was a good effort, good throw. But in terms of just overall flashy plays, I mean, I know he started off one OTA practice with a bomb to Elijah Moore, which is really nice to see. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, his command of the offense has been pretty apparent, and his velocity, quick release, those are things that really stood out. Like pure arm strength, how far he can throw the ball, isn't like a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but you don't really need that to succeed in today's NFL. So he's been able to. The velocity is way more important. It's kind of oxymoron, right? Like if you don't have a Josh, like you don't have the strongest arm, but you got good velocity. Yeah, I mean that's impossible because it's more like throwing from the leg, more horsepower. He has that throwing from the legs, things of that nature. The accuracy was pretty evident. Yeah, he's pretty accurate. I'll give him that. That's for sure. Which allows him to throw it into those tight windows. So the velocity for sure stood out without question.
And I know that you're big on Elijah Moore. You're on Jets Twitter hyping him up, saying that he could potentially be the wide receiver 1 after this year is all said and done. So who do you think is Zach Wilson's favorite target in OTAs? Is it Elijah Moore, or is there somebody else that you noticed that Zach Wilson always fed the ball more often than not?
Oh, that was Braxton for sure.
Braxton.
That was Braxton from
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was for sure his favorite target. Like that's who he threw the ball to most. Mims wasn't out there. Mims was barely out there when we were out there, and when he was out there, he didn't really make noise. Elijah Moore made noise, which was whenever he got an opportunity to get the ball thrown to him. But like consistently getting the ball thrown to him the most is Braxton, without a doubt, without questions. It's been Braxton.
That's pretty sick because we think he's our wide receiver 6.
I don't know if that. Yeah. So I was gonna say I don't think that even means anything, to be honest, because I mean, if you're just going down a depth chart, you got Corey, you're gonna have Crowder, you're gonna have Moore, Cole, Mims, and then Braxton. So having that core connection, I'm not really too sure that he really even holds that much weight, since the chances of Braxton getting a significant amount of playing time, unless something crazy happens, just from a numbers perspective, it's kind of hard to envision, him getting like a plethora of targets. I could be wrong, but I just don't envision that happening. But that's for sure been his favorite target. Elijah Moore has been as good as advertised. Quick routes, he gets in and out of his breaks quickly, light and quick, fast, good hands. He did a lot of damage when they're in red zone, 7-on-7. Everything has to be a lot more precise, quick, and him and Zach, they for sure had a good rapport. But as minicamp comes along, Dave's going to be practicing, Mims is going to be practicing, Crowder's going to be practicing, Cole's going to be practicing. So we'll see more. And I know that the defense, they'll be able to throw more at Zach. They'll be able to get a little more with receivers. I know during OTAs they weren't allowed to press. I think now they'll be allowed to press, things of that nature. Even though they don't really press too much in the Robert Saleh offense, defense. So I'm really excited to see what things look like during minicamp, though.
Yeah, minicamp's going to be dope. For those guys that don't know, Jets minicamp kicks off tomorrow, and DJ will be there. So if you guys are not following him on Twitter, make sure you do so, because he gives us all the news that we need live. And DJ, I just got to say thank you, because us as fans, we are so eager to know what's going on, as you can tell on Jets Twitter. And I make videos, and I'm assuming you don't watch them, but I give you credit, and I take your pictures and videos, and I say thank you to DJ from NY Daily News for giving us this content so we can talk about what's going on at Jets OTAs, because without you and the whole media crew, we would have no idea what's going on. So I just want to say thank you for all the great work that you're doing so far. And
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I remember as a kid, I used to always, I appreciate that. I remember as a kid, I used to always, when I used to watch, Dolphins had practice, thing like that, I always love when the beat reporters would go play by play. So I always say if I was ever in that position, I would do the same thing. So
yeah, we definitely appreciate that, man. If you guys are new to the stream, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are enjoying DJ from NY Daily News giving us his thoughts of the Jets OTAs, he got an up-close personal view, and he'll be there at minicamp as well. So it's going to be awesome. If you guys are not following him on Twitter, make sure you do so. Definitely the best Jets beat reporter out there. We love to have you part of the squad. So the next question I have for you, DJ, who stood out to you the most outside of Zach Wilson? I know obviously we talked about Zach Wilson, but is there anybody on the defensive side of the ball or even offense that you feel like you didn't really expect to look like he did, or you see him put in extra work, you see his motors there? Because there's only so much you can read into OTAs, obviously, since there's no pads and stuff like that. But from your perspective, is there anybody that really stood out to you the most in terms of work ethic, their quickness, their power, whether a defensive lineman? So just go from there.
So if we put everything into context, I think it's outside of Zach and Elijah. I think it's between CJ Mosley and Isaiah Dunn. So with CJ, he's looked really good. Granted, it's without pads, but he's looked really good. In fact, he made a lot of plays. He's been able to quarterback the defense. So when I say Isaiah Dunn, when we say stood out, I'm taking that in like the full literal sense, right? If like he's been like relatively, let's say Bryce Hall was doing what Isaiah Dunn has been doing, I wouldn't say he stood out. But Isaiah Dunn, because Bryce Hall is supposed to be quarterback number one. Isaiah Dunn, undrafted rookie, so you get the scratching claw for everything, and it's hard for you to even get noticed. Because I have a rule: undrafted guys, I don't pay attention to them until they give me a reason to pay attention to them, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna waste my time writing and covering guys that I don't even make the roster. You know what I'm saying? But Isaiah Dunn he was running with the ones last time we had practice. He's running with the ones. And we're talking about a guy that wasn't drafted, undrafted. And they have granted blessed in practice, so I probably contributed to that. But when he gets out there, it's not like he's not like a deer in headlights. He's been able to make plays also. Like a lot of the pass deflections on team, from my memory, from what I've seen, I think Isaiah Dunn has made some of them, whether it's on Braxton Berrios or because that was our last practice that we were at. He made a play on Braxton Berrios. Or I remember another time where I think he might have been in the slot, someone threw the ball down the field. He was there, breaks it up. You know what I'm saying? So like, he's really stood out when you add all the context. That I don't think he'll be a starter week one, but again, the fact that we even that question can even be broached lets you know how much he's really done his thing. Like everybody on the beat has noticed Isaiah Dunn. You know what I'm saying? Every time I'm undrafted free agent guy, he stood out more than every single cornerback that was drafted. If we're being honest, he stood out more than majority of the guys that are on the roster right now. Outside of Bryce Hall a little bit of Blast. But again, context is everything. And the fact that we're even discussing him in this light, and he was running with the ones, I just let you know what I'm saying, that he's really been doing his thing. And so that's someone that we got to continue to monitor, and that's someone that's for sure stood out.
Yeah, as an undrafted rookie, like you said, you're not really looking for any of them to impress you until they show up and you notice them. And that's somebody that, for those guys that don't know, the Jets gave him the largest contract in undrafted rookie history for the cornerback position. So obviously the Jets were high on Isaiah Dunn. And when the undrafted free agent pool happens, it's hectic. Right when round 7 wraps up, all the GMs are scrambling and they're trying to negotiate on the fly. And obviously they saw Isaiah Dunn. They're like, all right, we're going to give you a lot of money in order to secure you. So we know that we drafted a lot of players in the back end of that draft on the defensive side of the ball, especially in that cornerback room. Michael Carter II, Jason Pinnock, Brandon Eccles, all these guys. And it's interesting that out of all the rookie corners, it's Isaiah Dunn who was running with the first team alongside of Bryce Hall. So, and we all know as Jets fans, that cornerback room is definitely the biggest question mark because it's definitely the most inexperienced room. We do not have one veteran on the roster. So I just want to give your thoughts on the cornerback room. Bryce Hall, we are hopeful that he could be the CB1 and could perform at a high level. And when it comes to that CB2 position, we feel like it's Bless Austin's job to lose, but I'm looking at Michael Carter II to be the slot guy potentially. Jason Pinnock can maybe prove to be the outside, even Isaiah Dunn, Brandon Eccles, and we got undrafted free agents from last year's draft class and Lamar Jackson, Javelin Guidry. Like, it's such a young and inexperienced group. So what's your overall thoughts on cornerback position?
Overall thoughts, yeah, as you said, it's very inexperienced. There's gonna be, even if they bring in a vet, I know that people have thrown off Steven Nelson. We'll see about that. But again, it's very inexperienced.
Yeah.
And like that, I've been trying to like balance like how much is Zach and Elijah Moore and Braxton Berrios, like how much is them making plays and Ken Cole a result of the DBs, or how much is that a result of who, how good that they're just playing overall. Um, so I mean, they're developing, they're getting the reps. I understand why Jet fans have the concerns, and rightfully so. It's very inexperienced. I think the one with the most starts, I think the one that's like a cornerback, because Justin Hardy, I mean, you can't even, he doesn't even count. You know what I'm saying? He's a gunner. Like that's his thing. Obviously, it's going to be his bless. But, yeah, I mean, it's a major question mark. And it's probably going to be a hole for the majority of the year, even if they bring in another guy. Because, again, then like Bryce Hall he'll just be CB number 2, and they'll just attack him. You know what I'm saying? So right now, it's a work in progress. We will see where it ends up, but right now, it's for sure a work in progress, and there's concerns there, and rightfully so.
Yeah, man, the CB room is definitely the biggest position that Jets fans are concerned about. And going back to what you said previously, I forgot to give my thoughts on that. You said CJ Mosley's making plays out there, and I also know that you were on someone else's podcast and you mentioned Jared Davis is making plays as well. So if the Jets have CJ Mosley and Jared Davis to play the way that we think they can, I mean, CJ Mosley, he's a guy that we gave so much money, and he probably had the greatest performance by any middle linebacker as a debut. He had a fumble recovery, a pass deflection, and a pick six in 3 quarters before he tore his groin in week 1 against the Buffalo Bills in 2019. And that's the last time we saw CJ. So what's your thoughts of CJ Mosley and Jared Davis as a linebacker tandem? And do you think that they could become the quarterback of the defense if they're healthy? And you're getting that first throw view of these 2 linebackers. So what's your been impressions of both of them?
Yeah, CJ Mosley's been doing his thing. Like really been doing his thing, especially like in 7-on-7 drills. Like he's the one that, especially in red zone, he's one that's quarterback defense obviously, but has been able to make a lot of pass deflections. I remember, I think the last one we were at, and that wasn't a 1-on-1, but basically he was matched up with Tyler, number 81, I think Koff, tight end that came from Buffalo. I think he runs a slant outside release, comes back inside. CJ Mosley's on him the whole way. It hits kind of Tyler's hand. CJ Mosley breaks it up, rips it out, incompletion. I mean, CJ's been playing extremely well. Granted, again, t-shirt, shorts, and it's kind of hard to evaluate the cornerback. I mean, the linebacker spot for sure, without pads. And then Davis, the Jets coaches staff, they've raved about him. They've been impressed with what he's shown so far. As I said, Jeff, I don't want to mispronounce his name, the defensive coordinator. He has, he said that, feel like we're breathing new life into him. And that's a player that he's always loved since he was in Atlanta. That's someone that he targeted when they were in Atlanta because of just how he fits the scheme where the linebackers just sideline to sideline, get downhill, use that speed because they're really big on using athletic linebackers. So those two, if those two can play close to potential, that'd be a boost for this front seven. The front seven will be extremely solid. Obviously, we know what the front four looks like. So that the linebacking core can play to their talent. Yeah, that's really good for front seven.
Yeah, we would love to see CJ even play. I feel like that's all Jets fans want. We have 2 years of CJ, not 1 game has he played a full one. So we'll see what happens with him. We are all excited. So I want to ask you this question. Who is one player on offense and defense that could shock a lot of people this season? So Jets, is there anybody on both sides of the ball that you think Jets fans are not even thinking about or not even considering them to be a breakout candidate that you have noticed at OTAs that stood out to you and be like, wow, that guy could be a very huge part to this team, and we're just not even seeing it?
So power on defense, start with defense. Lamarcus Joyner, that's somebody that granted, people know about his pedigree. But he's been somebody that has made some plays. The defensive coordinator for the Jets, has mentioned him also, said we have to get him to, we have kind of load manage him because he's always going 100 miles per hour. He's they love what he brings to they love what he brings to the room, to the safety room. So that's somebody that if you could put at maybe Free to put at strong. I mean, Free was where he had some of his best seasons, and then Marcus maybe in the box. That could work, or vice versa. Because Marcus he's versatile enough. He can play both strong and free. And then on offense, probably Tevin Coleman at running back, or for sure, probably Tevin Coleman at running back. People have brought up Ty Johnson, Michael Carter, but there's a good chance, week one, Tevin Coleman can be the starter, like, without question. But I will say that running back spot is so wide open. Like, that's probably the most open spot on the entire team. Because it's like each practice, there's always somebody else running with the ones. Like, I've seen Michael P. run with the ones, Michael Carter. I've seen Coleman. I've seen Ty Johnson. I've seen like all those guys run with the ones. So again, that position is stupid wide open, man. It's wide open. So, but I know people talk more about Michael Carter. We're talking more about Ty Johnson. I could see a scenario where, Tevin Coleman could be that number one lead back.
Yeah, I mean, Tevin Coleman is a guy that a lot of Jets fans forget that has experience in this offense in Atlanta and San Francisco. And he was great in Atlanta when he was in his prime, running behind Devontae Freeman, and that was under Shanahan, if I believe. So this is a guy that feels like has a lot of juice left in the tank, and he is a perfect veteran running back. And like you said, this running back room is wide open. But the best thing about this offense is it's a style of offense where it's running back by committee, where you don't really need that number one running back to be the bell cow. He's not going to get 20, 25 carries. They're going to split the carries all over the place, which is so exciting as Jets fans. We don't have to watch Frank Gore get the ball over a rookie LaMichael Piron last year. So it's going to be fun to watch. But it's interesting about LaMarcus Joyner that you mentioned, because that's another veteran player that a lot of Jets fans are forgetting about. And we're so used to, Marcus May. Are we going to extend Marcus May? And LaMarcus Joyner, he's going to be right next to Marcus May in the safety position. He's a veteran. And like you said, Jeff Ulbrich mentioned that he always goes 110%, and they don't want to overload his management, and he's a veteran. So I feel like he could provide a veteran impact. So those are two interesting players you brought up, LaMarcus Joyner and Tevin Coleman. And it's funny because definitely those two players are players that Jets fans are not even discussing at all. So that's exactly what I wanted to hear. So this is another good question. Who are some of your favorite Jets players or coaches to interview? So this is your first time at Jets OTAs and Jets practices, and you're getting accustomed to, being part of the media with this Jets B team. So are there anybody that is about to be available for the media? You get a little excited, or you get to ask a certain question? I saw your interview with Carl Lawson asking about some anime stuff, which was awesome. So is there any specific player or coach that you feel like is unique to interview?
Yeah, for sure, Carl Lawson. Because Carl Lawson is if you don't ask the right question, like, he will give you an answer that lets you know you didn't ask the right question. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll just give you a short answer. Then if you give him, you ask a good question, like, he'll elaborate on it. And sometimes he'll have fun with it. Like, he said, like, he had his list of goals that he wanted, and then one of the reporters was like, "Look, can you shave?" Like, no, I can't give you all that. You know what I'm saying? Just going back and forth with him on that. You know what I'm saying? But not like in a condescending way. Like, I didn't view it as condescending. Like, it was just like, yeah, man, I don't, like, almost like I can't play that out there because his goals are probably like through the roof. You know what I'm saying? Which is, which I respect. Like, as an athlete, I remember the time I wanted to run in a 100-meter dash was my alarm, was one of my alarms. So, like, every time it hit like 10 something, I always had that alarm, ringing, even though that was an astronomical reach. But again, like, the goals are big. But, and then, I asked him about anime stuff, and then we go back and forth on that. So, and I remember the first time we had him on Zoom, the interactions there. So I enjoy those type of interviews where, like, you get more of the human element, where you're just not getting like the cliche type answers. I did like Jared Davis's Zoom call too, because he was very contrite, he was very open about his time in Detroit. I really did enjoy that. I don't mind those at all. And I like talking to Saleh, because Saleh is always in like a good mood. I mean,
That's great
we'll
to
see what
hear.
happens when the season starts. See how when the season starts.
Let's hope he's
But
happy.
right. But he always seems like he's in good spirits. You know what I'm saying? So those two for sure, I enjoy interviewing with. I mean, just asking questions and bouncing off questions for sure.
Good thing you got here just in time to avoid Adam Gase, because I feel like you would have had a lot of fun with that. Especially
Yeah,
experiencing him
but
as a
here's the
Dolphins
thing
fan.
though. Like, here's the thing though. Like, from a reporter's perspective, reporters that I've talked to, they still like Adam Gase is. And he's like obviously not a good coach, but like from a covering standpoint, he's great to cover because like when off the record stuff, he'll give you a lot. Like from people that I've talked to, he'll give you a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So, one
I don't know if you saw
a
like
Dolphin reporter was like, yeah, he'll.
no, Rich Cimini always had back and forth with Adam Gase like all the time, and like I would look forward to every single media thing. Rich would ask him a question, and Gase would have a snobby remark. That was like one of the only things I look forward to with Gase's press conferences, because every time he talked, I'm like, oh my god, get this guy off my team.
Right. But like that, that Adam apparently provided, I guess, a vine for relationship building, which as a reporter you always appreciate, even though you suck as a coach.
Yeah, that's dope. So that carries into the last question I have for you. So, what's your biggest takeaways from covering your first Jets OTAs and getting accustomed to the Jets organization? Because now you're having a first close perspective of the coaches, the players, their personalities. You get to be on the field for practices. This is your first time covering the Jets. So, what's your overall thoughts? Is it what you expected? Do you think the organization's going the right direction? So, give your overall thoughts of covering the Jets for the first time.
Yeah, it seemed like I tweeted this the other day. It just seemed like they wanted the complete opposite of Adam Gase. Like the energy is so much better for people that have told people I've talked to, and just like the vibe out there. Like players are having fun. Granted, I never saw the players during OTAs around this time, but again, it just seems like the vibe around the organization is great right now. People are happy to be there. People are there to work. It's been fun though. Overall, just being able to cover a pro team and just being able to watch football, man. So I mean, those are some of my biggest takeaway. My biggest takeaway for sure is just the environment, the energy. So for sure.
You have no idea how great that sounds as a Jets fan to hear, because we went through 2 years. I mean, I know you're a Dolphins fan, so you experienced Gase, but as Jets fans that went through 2 years of
Yes.
Adam Gase, to hear that, like, it's the complete opposite. There's
We
energy.
went through three.
You went through three, but he took you to the playoffs somehow. Somehow Adam Gase took you to the playoffs, but it's so
Shout
crazy.
out Jay Ajayi.
Shout out Jay and Jai. But before I ask you the final question about the Jets fan base, let's talk about your Dolphins real quick. What's your thoughts about this Jets Dolphins rivalry? Do you think the Jets have a chance to at least win one game, or do you expect the Dolphins to win
Of
both games this
course.
season?
I for sure expect. I for sure can see the Jets winning. Splitting one, getting one. Of course, I can always see that. And like the Dolphins are world beaters. You know what I'm saying? They're not there yet. But I mean, when those two play each other,
That's
I'll,
gonna be a lot of fun.
my fan hat will go off. My reporter hat will be on, and I'll make sure I do my job. My bias won't interfere. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean. I for sure can see the Jets getting one, because the Dolphins O line it's not there yet. You know what I'm saying? If the Jets D
Yeah.
line is humming, then they'll put a lot of pressure on Tua. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see what a full off season for Tua has done for him. Because I mean I've talked to people like I've talked to like his trainers. Because I'm really really tight with one of his trainers, like really tight with him. Like he used to train me when I was in high school. But so yeah, I've been able to see Tua work out in person, up close. I won't give any of my thoughts on that, because if I give some of my thoughts, y'all will be upset. So I will not give you any of my thoughts on that.
All right, good. Hold it back.
Not even on like a like praising Tua thing. It's just I'm not there. I have a comment that I trust my eyes with that, but I'm not gonna dive into all that. But I do want to see what he looks like with a full off season, a full year to recover. Like he's been fully recovered from his hip injury, so we'll see. But again, like it's early. I could most definitely see the Jets split in one, even though the Dolphins have won 8 out of the last 10 games against the Jets.
Oh, he's got
But
to
that's
bring
neither here
that
nor
up.
there.
Oh.
I can for sure see it being, y'all getting one for sure this year. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right.
So we'll see.
We'll see is right. I can't wait. And the last question I have for you, DJ, what's your thoughts on the Jets fan base? Now that you are covering us, you're part of Jets Twitter, you are interacting with everybody all over the place on Twitter. I see you, so you see a crazy delusional tweet from somebody saying like, oh, Elijah Moore is going to be this or something like that. And you quickly just try to humble them. So you've had a very good experience with Jets Twitter. Is there anybody specifically on Jets Twitter that comes to mind, or what's your overall thoughts of us as a fan base?
So yeah, shout out to my guy. I said his name wrong the first time. I said Jason, but it's Justin Gray. I like
Gray.
Justin.
He's the man.
Yeah, he cares a lot about the Jets. You know what I'm saying? Like his love is for the Jets is harmless. You know what I'm saying? Jude, I like Jude. I mean Jude texts pretty often. Me, Jude, and Andrew. I think his Twitter name is Case on Twitter. We text pretty often. We were actually texting this morning because they were they were trying to sell me on like the bad taste in their mouth that they make Jamison Crowder take a pay cut. I'm like, man, this is a business at the end of the day, man. Get your feelings out of a pan. Get your feelings out of here. But I enjoy talking to them. But I enjoy talking to the Jets fan base. Like, it's pretty obvious that you all care. So I love diving into that. There's some crazy things that I'll see. But again, like fans being fans, at the end of the day, one thing that I've always realized is like Twitter isn't real life. So even if someone says like, you're a piece of shit on Twitter. Say someone says that, you know what I'm saying? Like they see you in person, they're probably not gonna have that same response. You know what I'm saying? They're just
100%.
not gonna have that. And I keep that mantra going no matter what. Like Twitter's not real life. At the end of the day, like people just send off tweets. We just getting tweets off. And it is what it is. Fans are being passionate. They care a lot about their their fandom. Just like I do about like the Heat or like the Dolphins or like sometimes the Marlins. Not crazy about the Marlins anymore, but yeah. So I one thing that I learned when I was covering Louisville athletics is you gotta let fans be fans at the end of the day, as long as they don't cross lines. But you gotta let fans be fans because that's what helps the sport overall. That's what makes your job fun for players, coaches, even media members. You know what I'm saying? Because if you cover something that fans care about, that would make your job a lot easier in the sense. And again, like me engaging with families allows me to know which I care about, which I don't care about, things of that nature.
That's awesome to hear, man. Well, DJ, I appreciate you joining the show. If you guys enjoyed the stream, make sure you like and do not forget to follow DJ on Twitter down below and check him out over on NY Daily News. And DJ is in California right now, but he's heading back to the East Coast and he'll be covering Jets minicamp. And it's going to be exciting. DJ, I would love to have you on the stream again. We got like 40 days of nothing to talk about in between Jets training camp. So I'll definitely want to get your thoughts about minicamp, maybe. And that's going to be wild. So DJ, any last words you want to say before I let you go, man?
Just I appreciate all the Jet fans. Just give me, interaction, things like that. Give me feedback, just talking football, things of that nature. So I really do appreciate that, which is why I always do it. That's one thing that I copied from one of my favorite beat reporters, Omar Kelly, from the Miami Dolphins. He covers this. He's covering the Miami Dolphins with the Sunset, and the one thing that he always did was interact with the Jet fans. Dolphin fans. No matter how much they drove him crazy, he was always consistent with that. And that's something that I kind of try to model. My beat reporting after is Omar Kelly. Like obviously I'm not. Obviously I still have my own flavor, but for sure he's like the guy that I'm like a knockoff version of Omar Kelly in a sense. Like that's somebody that I grew up really, really reading and digesting this content. So I appreciate Jet fans showing love and interacting with me and things of that nature.
Yeah, man. Jets fans needed a beat reporter like you to be interactive with us, being open to coming on the YouTube channels, the podcast, and all these guys. Like, we really do appreciate you giving us the play-by-play stuff at practices and being open to come on my YouTube channel and all the other Jets podcasts around the place. So, DJ, I appreciate you. Jets Nation appreciates you. And that's going to wrap up the Jets Media live stream where we break down the OTAs. And stay tuned for more Jets content, guys. Make sure you like and make sure you follow DJ down below on Twitter and check out his articles over at NY Daily News. And that does it for this one. Let's go, Jets.